Across 6 months of testing, 3 services, and a stack of airports, my team landed on one clear answer for business travel data: Saily. The reason it won isn't what you'd expect, and the data that made it obvious is worth 2 minutes of your time. The link is in the description if you're already sold. It also supports the channel, which we greatly appreciate. And if they're running any active promotions, that may include a discount. Here's what nobody talks about in eSIM reviews. The question isn't which eSIM works, they all work roughly. Download the app, buy a plan, get data. The real question is what happens when something goes sideways at 11 p.m. in a city where you don't speak the language and you've got a client call at 8 a.m. That's the actual anxiety for business travelers. You're not a backpacker who can spend an hour in a cafe troubleshooting. You need connectivity reliable enough that you forget you're depending on it. We once got a $347 roaming bill from 1 week in Europe because we trusted my carrier's international plan. I'm not naming the carrier, but I've thought about that bill every time we scored one of these services. Ask me how I know $347 is the exact number. So when we scored these eSIMs, we didn't care about the flashiest app or the longest country list. We scored on 4 things: setup speed, pricing per gigabyte in the markets business travelers actually visit, reliability over time, and support quality when something breaks. Everything else is what their marketing wants you to hear. 3 SIM services head-to-head, the ones that show up on every list and that our audience asks about the most. Now, because Saily was our winner, we're not going to say the other 2 by name, but needless to say, there's options for widest coverage, options for unlimited data, and Saily is kind of in that middle ground sweet spot, and here's why. Each one got real-world use across multiple countries over 6 months of team travel. The team measured actual download speeds on the same networks in the same cities, timed setup from download to connected, tracked reliability, crashes, disconnections, activation failures, and scored each one on a 10-point rubric covering setup, pricing, coverage, and support based on real trip performance. This wasn't a weekend experiment. The team lived with these services for half a year before we said anything about them on camera. Here are the scores. The unlimited data option, I'd give it a 7. The widest coverage option, 6. Saily, 8.5 out of 10. Same rubric, same criteria, same window. On raw speed, the gap was smaller than you'd expect. In Dubai on a 5G network, Saily pulled 177 megabytes per second download. Now, another option hit 181 on the same network. Technically faster. If speed were the only thing that mattered, this would be a very short video with a different winner. But speed isn't what separates the good business eSIM from a frustrating one. Here's what does. Saily logged 0 crashes across 6 months of testing. Not one failed activation, not one moment where someone on the team was standing in an airport wondering why their data wasn't working. Setup took between 2 and 7 minutes from download to connected, and at every airport in testing, data was live the moment the team came off airplane mode after landing. That consistency is the thing you can't find on a spec sheet. For business travel, consistency is the product. You don't need the fastest possible speed, you need the speed that's always there. One more thing, Saily has a built-in ad blocker that their marketing says saves around 28% of mobile data. Unverified manufacturer claim, flagging it as such, but blocking ads before they load is real money saved on metered international data. Every ad that loads on a hotel captive portal is data you paid for and got nothing from. If 0 crashes and instant activation is what you're looking for, the link is in the description. It gets you a discount on Saily that's not available on their main site. The one thing Saily doesn't do best is absolutely every country coverage. There are wider coverage options that have more destinations. If your company sends you somewhere Saily doesn't cover, none of this matters. You'll need another option or a local SIM. Check Saily's coverage list against the countries you actually travel to. For the major business corridors, US, Europe, UK, Middle East, East Asia, coverage is solid. Yes, you can find eSIM plans that cost $1 or $2 less per gigabyte, but the real cost of business travel connectivity isn't the per gig rate, it's the cost of the problem when something fails. Missing a client call because your eSIM didn't activate costs more than any eSIM plan. Burning 45 minutes troubleshooting connectivity in a foreign airport costs more than any eSIM plan. A surprise roaming charge because your carrier's travel add-on kicked in while your eSIM was being difficult? I don't need to finish the sentence. Saily's pricing is competitive with the field on a per gig basis across major markets. The real value difference, across 6 months of testing, the team never had to troubleshoot it. Set up, activate, done. If your company's sending you overseas, the connectivity line item is a rounding error next to the flight, the hotel, and what your time is worth. Pay for the one that works every time. Get Saily if you travel for business to major markets and want connectivity that activates on landing, never crashes, and just disappears into the background. That's most business travelers. Consider a wider coverage option if your travel regularly takes you to destinations Saily doesn't reach, or you're optimizing across a high volume of short trips to many countries and you're comfortable trading some reliability polish for broader reach. Consider an unlimited data option if that's genuinely your priority. Extended stays, heavy hotspot use, situations where you'd rather have the ceiling than worry about gigabytes. Just read the current fair use terms before assuming what unlimited actually means. 3 eSIM services tested across 6 months, multiple airports, and multiple countries. Saily scored 8.5 out of 10, logged 0 crashes, and activated on landing every single time. That's why it's the pick. Not because it won on every individual metric, but because it never failed on the one that matters. The next time you land and need to be on a call before you reach the gate, that's the test. Saily passed it every time. The link is in the description and it gets you a discount that's not on their main site, and it supports the channel at no extra cost to you.